Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Mark again here, Weatherman Plus. I got a big update on you on what's going on with Milton. Matter of fact, what you see here, I have other information from you. I also have other information from National Hurricane Center because we just got the latest update. And the reason why I say this is the data that comes into this is from the automatic tropical cyclone. This is from the Navy. And you notice that they see two different scenarios. Now, I'm going to show you the National Hurricane Center scenario, but I want you to see this scenario also. They're showing that there is a group of ensembles that could see a strengthening where it just stays that 180, just like we've been seeing with the hurricane analysis models A and B. They both seen this strengthening from a Cat 5 going beyond what's been expected. And it went all the way to 180, all the way down to 170. And the shear in the dry air, sometimes there's a lag, a delay before the effects hit the hurricane and the winds start going down. And if this gets moving quick enough, but this goes down to a 4 on the other group that I'm going to show you, to where the shear and the winds don't hit it too fast and it takes too much time. We get in this trough. It's going to pull this system east and north, and it's going to pull it fast, just like it did for Helene. There's a group of ensembles that is showing that this is not going to get sheared down quick enough before this gets moving in. And remember, this fast motion, this big, broad storm is what's bringing all this flooding. So please take this seriously. Plus, you got the big 15-plus foot waves that's crashing in with that as well. This will be unbelievable. You should not be anywhere around here. But it's showing that it could hold this strength on this second group that I'm going to show you and potentially be the 131 sustained winds as it's going over Florida, as it's going all the way across towards Orlando. Now, once again, this is not National Hurricane Center cone. I will show you the cone. Here we got the latest update. This is a second group of ensembles that sees a different path in the automatic tropical cyclone ensembles. Now, this is where the problem is. Look at this. This is where it's different. So as you're going in for the 9th, for the evening of Wednesday, as it starts going towards landfall. And you can see as you go later, the weaker it is, but you can see the strength of it. One's still showing a Cat 5. A good bit of them is still showing at least a low end to a strong Cat 4 before landfall. Do you see that? Even a little bit afterwards, as you go into the morning, staying strong as a Cat 3 to a Cat 4. This is turning into the worst case scenario. Now, that's not the worst part. What I showed you just now on the automatic tropical cyclone forecast ensembles, the path, the intensity. This is this group that you see up here. A big group, I might add, that is saying that this will not get weakened down quick enough and get hit with that shear. It will make it. It will start going fast, and it will make it strong all the way across Florida. Now, I want to make this a point. This is automatic tropical cyclone forecast. This is just an ensemble. It's showing it will go all the way across Florida as a 5 the whole time. This is something new. The other group shows it will weaken right before landfall still, but be very powerful, stronger than we thought. Also, look at the new track, everybody. So it's taking off that southern dip. The southern dip came from if it did any kind of land interaction on the Yucatan. Now it's taking that northern dip, and they are very confident. It's got still a little bit of a wobble. That's still a pretty big wobble. There's lots of space right there. But you can see it could either be going right over Tampa, which brings the worst to the southern side, or it could be going a little bit further where you're looking maybe towards Sarasota. So that's why they're doing that massive evacuation. But now that I've seen what the ATCF has shown, it's got me wondering, everybody, because we got that second group, and this could potentially be horrible. This could potentially stay a Cat 5. For some reason, we had that group that's seen that shear will not hinder it. Be too strong to combat it. I know it can combat the 30-knot wind shear sometimes, 20-knot wind shear, maybe up to 30. Latest shows it's still strengthening. I expected it to. It had thunderstorms around the eye. It went up to 180 now, and it's moving faster. East at 10 miles per hour. Showing they are expecting not only to 80 to get to 185. Then it's going to be all the way down from 185, and that shear is going to hit it, and it's going to hit the brakes that much to where it's still going to be 125 on landfall. I'm sorry, I do not believe that. I believe that would be maybe down to 130, 135. But like I said, the 10 to 15 miles per hour does not matter. I think no matter what, this is going to be catastrophic. I think that new group saying it could be a 5, that's a lot of ensemble members showing that possibility, everybody. 7 is showing that possibility. There's 7 ensemble members that's showing this could stay a Cat 5 all the way across Florida. Please heed my advice. I know this is not from National Hurricane Center. They're going with the 9 down here that is agreeing that it will weaken. I say it is a 50-50. Why take the chance? Whether it's a 4 or 5 is devastating. It's catastrophic. It's unheard of. It's power outages for a very long time. If you are thinking about anything, you see the uncertainty, you should leave. Storm surge has gone up 10 to 15 feet now expected over here from Tampa Bay headed south. They also have 2 to 4 feet on the eastern side of Florida, 3 to 5 feet going back to 2 to 4 feet for Georgia, portions of South Carolina, and they got 1 to 3 feet for South Carolina also. Matter of fact, you can even see from your lower level winds how tightly wound that storm is. You still have winds around it, but watch how broad the system gets as it starts slowing down before landfall. Huge, broad system bringing all those winds with it. But you can also see once you get around 1 p.m., you start getting shear interacting on it, and you can see how quickly it gets on it. Now, this is literally 3 hours. Sometimes there's a delay between shear interacting with this storm and the weakening of the winds. But you see it does get around it really nice as it goes by 7 p.m. towards 10 p.m. towards landfall. Still weakening the system down. But still, if that gets a little delay, these impacts will go further into Florida. Still, the census is that these winds will be there, hindering the winds around this storm and weakening it down. I don't even want to say the phrase weaken, because we're talking about weakening down from 150 something miles per hour down to 130s. That's not weak, it's just weakened down. Now you can see this when you look at your storm. So as all the shear and the dry air starts getting into this system and starts combating it, it starts getting into the southern side and wearing that down and tries to start weakening down. Well, by now, we are literally hours before landfall, and it could be a little late. I'm thinking at least the first 3 to 6 hours. Definitely, I think we're looking at a Cat 4 winds and all this storm surge. Don't forget, the main thing is not going to be these winds. It's going to be the flooding. You run from the flooding. You can hide from the winds. Florida, you cannot hide from this system. It's going to have anywhere from 10 plus foot storm surge coming all across the west coast right here, right by landfall. Also, you're going to have 15 plus foot waves coming with all that surge. This is not going to be a livable situation. If you're in this area, please, there's nothing to prove. Please just leave. Please come back to this video and laugh at me how you're still okay the next day. I would love that. Showing quite surprisingly, right around 1 p.m. this afternoon, 163. It's at 175. It's pretty close. It's not exact, but it's pretty close. It's better than what we're seeing on the Euro or these other models. They're not seeing any of this. It's a hurricane models. But now look how it just brushes a little bit of the northern Yucatan. Now when it does this, it goes down dramatically from 163 down to the high 40s, down to the 130s, but then it starts strengthening right back up. It does not affect this any. You need to get the core of the eye overland to try and do anything. So the scenario of it being weaker by the Canadian only would play out if that eye went on it. It's not going. The census is going to be northern. And as you go into 1 p.m. on Wednesday, this is where it starts going from that Cat 5 down to that Cat 4 and dramatically start getting weakened down by the shear. So by 4 p.m., it's still combating it. It's going over the loop current. It's getting a little bit of energy as well. Eventually, the shear wins. Now, on this model run, I know it can run out of time. I know it can still be very strong on impact, probably will be very strong on impact. This model was correct about the intensifying. Correct about the 170 something, 180, I'm sure. It's correct. Other models didn't see this. This model was correct. This model is also seeing the weakening. As you go by, very close, very hectic. As you go by the evening, 4 to 7 p.m., it's going to start getting hit a little bit. And once you go from 7 p.m. on, it starts getting hit pretty hard, according to this. Brings it right down to that 125 that National Hurricane Center says. Now, if National Hurricane Center has it down to right here for 125 miles per hour winds, if your eye and your center comes across this direction, it makes that southern wobble. It's going to be bringing full impact of probably Cat 4 and might go down to the 125. If it's northern on this line, it has a chance to get the full impact. Matter of fact, I believe that we're going to see a wobble like this. I believe we're going to see that northern wobble, and then it's going to straighten out a little bit north than what we're seeing now, unfortunately. And this is going to bring everything into Tampa region, all across the west bank of Florida. It's going to get really bad. Then you look at your next shot from 123, it goes down to 108 dramatically, which is still very bad. Don't get me wrong, this is still very bad. But look how quickly the same model that is correct on the intensification, the same model shows the weakness. So just keep that in mind. Also showing that anywhere from Jacksonville on down towards Tampa is anywhere, and all that white to that purple is going anywhere from 10 inches towards a foot. Now, National Hurricane Center has updated the rainfall amounts. They have pulled away some of that 8 to 12 that was over here for northeastern Florida. You still have a couple pockets of it, but it's not as big as it was earlier, and they pulled away what was from the Florida Keys. You still got 4 to 6 and all this yellow. The census is going to be those storms on the northern side. That is where your biggest rainfall rainmaker will be. The waves are still showing that it will grow as it goes through the evening from Sarasota all the way towards Tampa. Anywhere from 15 to 20 foot waves. Showing in the bay will be 15, more likely 20 foot on the outer rim. So it's a lot of strong waves that's coming all night with that, as well as a surge. The winds are crazy strong, yes, but the winds is going to be the least of your problems. You can hide from winds. You can even run from winds, and I highly advise that. You cannot hide from flooding. You need to get out. And now it all updated to what we see with National Hurricane Center. Now we're seeing NHC's forecast, not ATCF's forecast. So remember, you did see that other group of ensembles. You've seen what they are and what that is showing. This is National Hurricane Centers showing the 178, expected to go to the 184, 224 miles per hour wind gusts, down to 173. And as it gets closer, we're still looking as a strengthening Cat 4. Look at that. We're still looking at a strengthening Cat 4. I don't know what other information you may need. But we still have a strengthening Cat 4 coming down from 144 miles per hour sustained winds. Over 170 miles per hour wind gusts. Hopefully coming down to 127 miles per hour sustained winds and 155 miles per hour wind gusts. With a good possibility, 7 ensembles of a possibility that this remains a Cat 5 all the way across. Remember that. I'm sorry to bring you the news. Hopefully all of you are gone. So real quick before I go, Psalm 91, 1 through 4. He that dwelleth in the secret place of the Most High shall abide under the shadow of the Almighty. I will say of the Lord, He is my refuge and my fortress, my God. In Him will I trust. Surely He shall deliver thee from the snare of the fowler, and from the noisome pestilence. He shall cover thee with his feathers, and under his wings shalt thou trust. His truth shall be thy shield and buckler. Amen. Have a great night, everybody. Sorry about that. It just gets really hard. It gets really hard forecasting these things, and just be cold as a box is I can't do it. I can't do it. But I appreciate every single one of y'all. And remember, above all things, all glory goes to God, our Father in heaven, Yahweh. And I always hope he keeps you safe. I know he will keep you safe. You and everyone that is around you. And forever. Amen. Hallelujah. Have a great night, everybody. Hopefully we're not looking at that Cat 5. I know you're gone. I just hate to see everything you ever worked for to be gone too.